The 2023 Kink Williams is the most expensive bike in Kink's 2023 lineup. This is the most expensive Kink bike that money can buy. This bike is Nathan Williams' signature bike, and we all know that Nathan Williams is an incredibly talented rider. It's mostly designed for street riding. It comes with pegs, full chromoly, aftermarket parts. It's a really solid bike for close to $1,000. In this video, we're going to talk about everything there is to know about the Kink Williams bike. Stay till the end because I'll give you the honest truth on whether or not this bike is worth it. So there are 5 common questions that everybody asks me about the Kink Williams. The Kink Williams weighs 27.5 pounds. It's going to cost $999. Everything on the bike is upgradable and customizable. It comes with 4 nylon pegs and 4 nylon hub guards. The Kink Williams does have brakes and it has holes drilled for gyro tabs if you did want to put a gyro on there. So let's talk about the size options and the color options for the Kink Williams. There's only one option for the Kink Williams, and that's a 21-inch trans matte forge blue. Now the Williams might not be the right bike for you, and I can save you a lot of time by finding 3 bikes that are perfect for you. Just click the link up here or in the description and request a free bike recommendation. I'll find 3 bikes that are perfect for you, and I'll send you that information so it narrows down your search from like 90 bikes down to 3 bikes. Let's talk about the sizing of this bike and determine if this bike is a good fit for you based on your height. The Williams comes in a 21-inch top tube. This is going to be best for taller riders who are over 6 foot. If you're smaller than 6 foot, it's just important to understand how this geometry is going to affect your style of riding. Google Dougsterbob's size guide to learn more about geometry and sizing. There are 4 other geometries aside from the top tube that determine how the bike's going to feel. These aren't as important as the top tube, but they do affect the style of the bike. Some bike frames are snappy, some bike frames are mellow. The Williams comes with a 75.5 degree head tube angle, a 9-inch standover height, a 12.75-inch chainstay, and an 11.7-inch bottom bracket height. Some important things to note about this geometry is the head tube angle is a little bit more responsive than average. The chainstay is also a 1/4 of an inch shorter than average, and the bottom bracket height is taller than average. Overall, those 3 things are going to give this bike an incredibly responsive and snappy feeling. It's going to make the bike good for technical responsive tricks. The geometries on the parts package of the bike are going to have the same effect. Understanding how these parts affect the bike will help you choose the perfect bike. The Kink Williams forks are 30mm offset. The handlebars are 9.25 inches tall and 29 inches wide. It comes with a top-load aftermarket stem with 22mm of rise, 48mm of reach. The Kink Williams has a 25/9 gear ratio, meaning the sprocket is a 25-tooth sprocket, the driver is a 9-tooth drive. Everything's on the right side, so this bike is right-hand drive. And it comes with a free coaster. The quality is going to determine how long your bike is going to last and how it's going to hold up to certain levels of riding. Remember, it's always recommended to get the best level of quality that you can afford. The Kink Williams is a full chromoly frame. It's not the aftermarket Williams frame, though it looks very similar, but it's just normal full chromoly. The main difference here is that aftermarket quality frames and parts have extra steps done in the manufacturing process to make it last a lot longer. For example, aftermarket frames might use butted tubing and a heat treating process to harden the chromoly. There's a bunch of different things that they do to these aftermarket parts. The frame on the Williams is just normal full chromoly. The forks on the Kink Williams are also full chromoly forks. They're not quite aftermarket chromoly, but they are a step in quality up from like the Kink Trident forks that you see on a lot of the other Kink completes. These are good quality forks, but they're just not the same level as like the Kink Stoic forks and the Kink CST forks. The handlebars are the Kink Williams signature handlebars. These are aftermarket 4-piece bars. The cranks are full chromoly cranks. They're 48 spline 3-piece cranks. They're better than the 8-spline cranks that you'll see on all of the other bikes in Kink's lineup. The rims are double wall rims. They're pinned rims, so they're not as good as the welded rims, but they're still double wall. They're twice as strong as single wall. They're gonna last you pretty good. So this is where it gets exciting. Let's talk about some of the highlights and some of the lowlights of the Kink Williams bike. Some of the highlights include the Cinema Sync half-link chain, the Cinema CK pedals, the Cinema Beta guard sprocket, the Cinema ZX hubs, and the Cinema Williams 2.5-inch tires. All of these are aftermarket parts that you could buy separately. buying these on the Williams is going to save you quite a bit of money. Some of the lowlights include the standard 48 spline cranks. It's still good that they're 48 spline full chromoly cranks, but they're not aftermarket cranks. And the normal Kink Williams frame. The fact that it's not aftermarket bums me out, because if you're spending this much on a bike, you should get a really solid frame. So now let's talk about how this bike scores in quality compared to other bikes, and then discuss the weight limit for the bike if there is one. This information is from the Dougsterbob app, which is a free app for you to use to figure out a lot more about the bikes than you will find anywhere on the internet. The Kink Williams scores an 8.4 out of 10 in quality, and that gives it no weight limit. I'm confident that a rider of any weight can get on this bike and ride it for quite a while without any issues. Certain bikes are better for certain types of riding. Let's talk about what type of riding this bike is best for. And remember, you can always make upgrades to the Williams to make it better for a certain type of riding. The Kink Williams scores an 8.89 in street, a 6.92 in park, and a 4.1 in dirt. This bike is way better for street than any of the other types of riding. If you buy the Williams, or if you've already bought the Williams, these are the top 3 upgrades that you need to make to this bike. None. There's no upgrades to this bike. Right out of the box, the Williams is a solid bike, and you'd be silly to waste any money for performance upgrades. Now, if you want to change some geometry around, you want to change some colors around, then it's okay to upgrade it. But for the most part, the parts on here are solid, and I wouldn't go changing things just because. Now, the Williams doesn't get recommended very often. It's a very expensive bike, but most people who can afford this bike have the budget to buy the Sunday Soundwave, the Sunday Darkwave, the We the People Battleship, the We the People Envy. They can afford these really high-end, fully aftermarket bikes. This bike is kind of similar quality to the Sabrosa Novas, which is even more overpriced, but the Williams is a fine quality bike, okay? I just want to throw that out there. Like, it's not a bad quality bike. The problem I have with it is that it's $1,000 and it's not really aftermarket. It's not very aftermarket compared to other bikes that you'd see around this price range. If you decide to buy the Williams, it's not an overpriced bike. It has adequate quality, good quality stuff, and the price is fair. It's a few $100s cheaper than the We the People Battleship or the Sunday Soundwave or those really high-end bikes. But with that being said, most people who have the $1,000 budget to buy the Williams could just toss in a couple extra $100 and get a bike with much higher quality score. For example, the Soundwave scores close to a 10, it costs about $1,300, and you get lifetime warranty on a lot of those parts. And so if you have $1,000, spending another $300 to get close to a 10 quality score isn't really that bad. And that's what I'd recommend most people to do. Again, I don't have a problem with the Williams, but it's just in an awkward spot in terms of budget and quality. Most people can afford a higher quality bike than the Williams, or they can't afford the Williams, and so it's a weird spot for it to be in. YouTube thinks that the video up here on the screen is a good video for you to watch, and then I also have the full in-depth Kink lineup on here on the screen. Don't forget to head to the comments and let me know which bike I should review next.